AM 1430 KRGI. Good morning. It's 9:05. I'm Brian Gallagher. We have a guest in studio. Steve Irwin's come by from Desch-Paine Monuments to tell us more about some of the beautiful artwork that can come from Desch-Paine. Hi. How was Thanksgiving for you?
Well, I had to stay put. I couldn't go anywhere.
Well, I'm sure that we all have those little anchors, don't we?
Yes.
All right. Let's look ahead. Steve is with Desch-Paine Monuments, and we have talked already about some of the things that they can do artistically, but when you're putting together monuments, working with granite, that has to be something you know it's just going to last for years and years and years, and so there's a lot of artistic opportunities with granite, isn't there?
Correct. Yes, granite will not deteriorate. Some of the earlier headstones that were used, like limestone, sandstone, and marble, the weather affects them, and granite's such a hard material that it won't be affected by the weather.
So where does most of your granite come from?
Well, it comes from all over the world, actually. In the United States, there's quite a few states that have it in the United States, but there's three major hubs in the United States, and that would be Georgia, and then you get a light gray from there. Vermont, specifically Barre, B-A-R-R-E, Vermont, and that's a darker gray.
Okay.
And then St. Cloud, Minnesota, there's several colors up there. And then there's a couple granites from Canada, Africa, Norway, which is kind of surprising, China, and the main foreign country that has granite is India, and we get probably 5 or 6 colors from India. And the most popular color is referred to as jet black from India, and over 1/3 of the people in the United States purchase that jet black granite.
Wow. So that would be tied more or less to the Himalayas then, or that region.
It is in a mountainous region,
Yeah.
and we've had a continuous relationship with a quarry over there for around 12 years now. So it's good to have that continuous relationship with someone when you're talking about high quality granite and wanting the best for your clients that you serve.
So let's go through the process. Let's say someone wants to choose that memorial, and first they have to choose colors. So you're able to show them the panorama of the different selections available. So they make their selection, wherever it's from. What happens next?
Well, we ask a lot of questions. It's very important to ask a lot of questions so you get the design that the people want. And two of the main questions I ask are, do you want your wedding information on the granite? And do you want the children's names on the granite? And we don't want to forget something. Once it's set out in the cemetery, it's set out in the cemetery. Now, we can add to it later, possibly, but we want to make sure we get it right, the first time.
Sure.
So then we talk about different designs, and usually that comes about from asking more questions, such as, what did your husband do, or what did your wife do? Hobbies, occupation, different things they like to do, and that generates some things popping up. And there's some symbolisms that can be used to illustrate that. Say, for instance, if you don't want the top or the sides polished of your monument, that can represent a life of farming or ranching, or someone who liked to be outdoors, maybe hiked, biked, things like that. So we can create some of that symbolism through how we finish it.
That makes sense now. You wonder why when you go by certain stones you see the finish, and now I have some new clarification on that. So is most of the artwork chiseled, or are there other ways to affect the granite?
That's a good question, Brian, because there's a couple ways that they will finish the granite and put the design on there, if you will. The main way to do it is through sandblasting. And they will take the piece of granite into this little room, kind of a closet type room, and the granite doesn't move. And then the sand is got a lot of pressure behind it, and it moves back and forth, hitting that granite. It doesn't actually hit the granite, it hits the stencil that's on the granite with the design and The design that they've chosen it's cut out, so when that sand hits that, it sandblasts that design onto the granite, and that's where you get your sandblasting. The second method is etching. And etching has become very popular, but etching must be done on that jet black granite from India that we talked about earlier. And etching is an entirely different process than sandblasting. And etching allows you to do great detail. And it comes out looking kind of like whitish. The laser machines, they're just like if you went out to New Holland and watch them cut metal. So it's a laser light that comes out and actually kind of burns that design onto the granite. And we've had no problem with etchings over the years up to this point. So
you've seen some of the artwork that comes out too, the imagery that people want.
You can do anything. We are one of 2 companies that are allowed to do Terry Redlands. We can do any Terry Redland print that he ever made, and that's etched. So we're kind of an exclusive dealership in that way. But we can etch anything. We've done custom farm scenes. People will have their aerial photos of their farms, and they'll bring those in, and we can etch those. We can etch anything. And so with etching, you get that great detail. You can do poems, sayings in a small amount of space, whereas you would never be able to sandblast a poem or a saying in most cases.
Wow. I've learned much today. Steve Irwin is with Desch-Paine Monuments. If folks have more questions or maybe they want to set up a time to visit with you, how can they get a hold of you?
Our phone number in Grand Island is 384-2422. We also have an 800 number, which you can find on our website. Our address is 3805 Old Potash.
Okay. Steve Irwin from Desch-Paine Monument. Thanks for the info. Have a Merry
You're welcome.
Christmas.
Same to you.
All
See you
right.
next year.
It's not